So when it comes down to finances, we all know that it pretty much comes down to basic math, right? Spend less than you make and you should be okay. However, we all know that for a lot of people, it's not as simple as that, right? We understand that there's a psychological component when it comes to dealing with your finances. Even myself, when I was in $30,000 of credit card debt, I knew what I was doing wasn't right, but for some reason, I had very bad financial habits, which kept leading me down to all this debt. And I think that's for a lot of people. So what you'll hear a lot of experts talk about how is, you should live below your means. And of course, we all can agree with that, right? However, there's a second component when it comes to dealing with your means. And what I want to do is that before I share what that second component is, I want to play these videos that talk about the whole aspect of living below your means and their experiences with that. So I'm gonna let these videos these videos play, and then I'll break down what that second component is.
Stop telling people to live below their means. Stop telling people that, because living below your means still doesn't make up for the fact that we don't make enough money. I'm living below my means and it's still hard. I don't know why y'all not ready to have that adult conversation yet. And people are so quick to say that when you tell them you're going through something financially. Y'all, even if I am living above my means or right at my means, there's no reason why I should have to cut out the little things that bring me joy to make up for the fact that we don't get enough money.
I mean, well, there is a reason why you need to cut out those things that bring you joy, because you don't make enough money, right? Obviously, the most important thing is, of course, are your needs, right? Your housing, clothes, food. These are your needs, right? These are the things that you need in order to survive. All the other stuff that make you happy, these are wants, right? And these are not things that you actually need. And if you're not making enough money to enjoy those wants, then obviously, then you need to find a way to increase your income, right? And this is what I'm talking about, that second component. That second component is just not living below your means. It's also trying to find a way to increase your means, right? And for her, the reason why she's probably not making enough is probably she doesn't have the skills, right? And this is not to knock her or degrade her in any ways, is that she probably doesn't have the skills that can net her the income that she needs, right? So what she needs to do is either develop skills that's going to, then she can then take them skills to a job that's going to make her the money that she wants, or develop skills that can obviously create a business for herself so that she can then create that income for herself. Right? So she talks about there's no reason why she shouldn't be able to enjoy the things that she wants. Well, I mean, there's a reason. You just don't make enough, and you need to find a way to make enough so that you can then enjoy the things that you want in life, right? Obviously, you want to make sure the things that you need are covered, your food, your clothes, and the roof over your head. Once those are covered, then all those other things are just wants. And if you want those things, then you got to find a way to increase your income so that you can enjoy those things that you want.
And I say that because I know that personally, and I just see that so much. And granted, some people do live way, way, way above their means. But that's not who I'm talking about right now. I just know I reach the people who I need to reach.
So yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, that second component is basically finding a way to increase your means, because everyone talks about how you should live below your means, which is common sense, right? Whether you make $100,000 or whether you make $1 million, you should always be finding ways to live below your means, right? Because you can see that when it comes to athletes, right? These athletes make millions of dollars, and yet when their career is over, they're broke. Why? Because obviously they're living above their means. So it doesn't really matter how much you make. You should be living, that should be a standard anyways, living below your means, right? But if you're someone that's living paycheck to paycheck, or you're not, you've managed your expenses into a point where you've covered your basic necessities, then you should be trying to find ways to increase your means, which is obviously you want to make sure you're increasing your skills, right? Bringing value to the market where you can then command the amount of money that you need, right? So we got one more video, and he also talks about this.
50K salary, live on 40K. 70K salary, live on 40K. 100K salary, live on 40K. You get it. The point is, live on less than you make. Live below your means until your means expand to a point where you can do whatever want. This is really as simple as it gets when it comes to setting yourself free financially. Take your annual income and live on half of it or a quarter of it if you can. Yes, it's going to be difficult, and I'm not saying you have to starve yourself just to get rich through investments. But your alternative is to let your lifestyle creep up to your income level. Continue to spend and spend and spend and spend until eventually a bad day comes where you either get fired or you realize that, oh wait, I don't have any money for retirement because you didn't take things in your own hands. Live below your means. It's what I'm doing right now. I eat mac and cheese twice a day. 69-cent mac and cheese. It tastes good and it saves me a load of money on food. Just one of the ways I cut costs so that I can invest more money into myself, my businesses, and my future.
Exactly, man. He's exactly right. See, a lot of people, what they do is as soon as they start making more money, like he says, man, just live off 40K. You make 50, live 40. You're making 70, live on 40. You're making 100K side, live off 40. And this is where a lot of people get caught up, right? As they make more money, so does the expenses. The expenses increases right along with their income, and people are still figuring out why they're living paycheck to paycheck. This is why when you hear people talking about they make 6 figures and they're still living paycheck to paycheck, that like, people hear that and it's like that makes no sense, right? Because obviously, if you just looked at the math, if you just had a spreadsheet, right? If you just looked on your computer, had a spreadsheet and just looked at all the money coming in and looked at all the money going out, you would then see where you're having issues. Because like I said, it's just basic math. The reason why you're living paycheck to paycheck is because you're spending more than you make. Okay, where you're obviously getting to a point where you're just maxing yourself out. And what you should be doing is, as you're increasing your means, whether it's through obviously developing more skills at your job, or maybe like he said, starting a business, you should be maintaining those expenses. You should be increasing your expenses at an exponential rate. Keep it at the same, right? And obviously, as you're making more money, then you can figure out, as you're budgeting, you can say if you want to increase it a little bit, that's fine. Obviously, you never want to get to a point where you're at that point where you're maxed out and you're living paycheck to paycheck. So it requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of commitment, right? But a lot of people, where people get in trouble is they're at their job and they just don't make it. They said they don't make enough. What it is that they do make enough to cover their needs, right? Most people, they do have enough to cover needs, but it is that they don't make enough to cover their wants, right? To go travel on vacation, to get the nice car, to get all the nice things they want, right? So what do? They say, all right, since I can't get it with the money I get at my job, I'm gonna take this little credit card and I'm gonna use my credit card. And as long as I got my job, I can make the payments on that credit card, whether it's the minimum payment or maybe whatever, payments that they make. And that's where they get caught up, because then they keep using that credit card and then the debt builds up. That credit card gets maxed out, and then they get another credit card and do the same thing. And then it gets to a point where obviously you get maxed out. I know that from experience, right? Racking up $30,000 of credit card debt. I know that from experience. You just keep using that credit card until it gets to a point where you're maxed out and you're tapped out, and then you go on collections, and you got to get to a point where you have to then confront those issues of why your spending is all over the place, and then why you're living paycheck to paycheck. Because all it takes is just one emergency, whether it's a health emergency or your car breaks down or whatever type of emergency, where it gets to a point where, like, you know what? All right, I can't afford this. I'm done, right? So like I said, it's not only should you be learning to live below your means, right? That's something you should be doing at whatever income level you're at, okay? But if you want all the nice things in life, or the luxury things, then you have to find a way to also increase your means. Because let's be real, like if you look at inflation, the way our government spends money, if you look at inflation, things are always getting expensive, right? They're taxing us. The inflation is cutting into how much you make. So your income, if you're someone that just has a regular job or any type of job that doesn't make a lot of money, it's just cutting into your income, right? It's cutting into the amount of money that you have available to spend on things that you want. So you have to find a way to always increase your means. You should always be trying to find ways to increase your means. Don't just rely on that 3% every year on your job, because it's not enough. You got to find ways to increase your means, unless you got a high paying job, right? But you should be always trying to find ways to increase your means, whether it's through a side hustle, a business, whatever it is. You got to find ways to create multiple forms of income. Just do not rely on one source of income, because you see the way things are going when it comes to the cost of living. It's always going up, whether you like it or not. That's what's happening, right? So you got to find a way to fight through that, right? And it's a sad thing to say, but it's the reality, okay? So those are my thoughts. Interested to hear your thoughts. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button, share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. All right, so guys, take care and have a good one. Later.